Hello there, welcome to my cooking class. It's Jacqueline, it's Thursday, and I'm making something with hamburger today. So let's get started. I'm gonna give you some fun food facts. What we're gonna be making, got the gloves on, we are going to be making meatballs. And what package am I going to use? Well, super excited. This is a brand new product. It is our Swedish meatballs. Okay, might butcher this, but I believe the Swedish name is called köttbullar. I don't know, did that sound right? All you Swedish people that are watching me? So let's get started on making this. Now this package is going to make the meatballs and the gravy. And in order for us to do this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use some of the package mix, which is our seasoning. Remember, all of our products are gluten-free. But we're going to use the remaining part to make the creamy gravy that is traditional with our Swedish meatballs. So grabbing your 4-in-1 spoon, remember there's a tablespoon here, teaspoon, half and a quarter on that side. I'm gonna scoop this in here, sort of level it off, and put our 2 tablespoons in there. We also want to add maybe some breadcrumbs. So we can now add some binder for this, for our meatballs. And a lot of you may be gluten intolerant, so you may want to consider our crispy and crunchy coating. This is a rice spreader. It's very, very good. If you've never tried this, way better than panko breadcrumbs. I'm not kidding. Even if I didn't sell this, I would be saying buy lots. I can never keep this in. I use it for everything, chicken strips, seasoning, anything, a coating for everything. Love, love, love it. So we're going to use half a package. The package actually has 1/2 cup. So if you split the package in half, you'll have exactly what you need for this recipe. So using your hands, all we're gonna do is get in there, get the seasoning mixed up, and then we're going to make approximately 16 meatballs. So you could use pork with this if you prefer. If you want, you could even do ground chicken or ground turkey. I have a neighbor down the road, Manuel, who's in his 90s, and he always tells me he's tired of my chicken. Says it's foul. It is foul. But what a jokester. Anyway, he appreciates having some beef every once in a while. So I'm going to be running this Swedish meatballs down to him. He's Dutch. I think he's going to appreciate that this comes sort of from his neck of the woods. And of course, I know he's going to love the gravy. Okay, you may have noticed I'm mixing this in our mixing bowl. This is our nesting bowl, and there's 3 different sizes. I love this because it does have that really nice handle. If you have a bowl and you're mixing, I can almost guarantee it's not gonna have a handle on it, but you can see how easy and ergonomic this is. Super handy. So we're going to get this all organized so that we can use our saute pan. And we're just going to make some rolled meatballs. I like having them about that size. Go crazy, have fun, get your tray all organized, and then we're gonna go to our saute pan. Meatballs are ready. I actually, for the size that I like, I obviously can make 18. So someone's gonna get lucky. So we're going to now put a little bit of olive oil in our saute pan, and we're now going to brown these lovely little morsels of beef. I'm gonna spread this around. This saute pan, by the way, is one of our premium items. I love it, the non-stick. I had a lady ask the other day, do you have to put a little bit of oil when you use a non-stick? And the answer is, depending on what you're cooking, but probably yes, especially if you're using extra lean. Okay, so we've got some heat going on here. We're just going to add our meatballs now, and we're going to cook these up. A way to make sure that they get cooked well in the inside is use a lid. I also like making sure that it's nice and browned on the outside. So our saute pan does come with a see-through lid, so we're just going to set that on, and let's get browning that. Now, let's give you some fun food facts, shall we? Okay, so I probably butchered it, but our Swedish meatballs, or köttbullar, these actually are really the claim to fame to IKEA. I mean, everyone knows that if you go to IKEA, it's the Swedish meatballs that is part of it. In fact, they call it the sofa seller because it is part of the meal. Now, a lot of you might have thought, I bet you IKEA had those right when they first started. And IKEA actually goes way back to I wrote it down, 1953. Wow, way before it came over to Canada. Anyway, 1953 it started being made, and for any of you who have traveled over to Europe, you understand the flatbed furniture, or flat box furniture I should say, because it is impossible to get anything up stairwells in Europe. And if you go to Holland or any of those places, you'll notice in all those European countries, quite often they'll have pulleys on the outside of the buildings because a lot of their furniture comes in from hoisting it up and pushing it through a window. You cannot get up stairwells, and that's where these flat boxes came in handy. Now, IKEA, that's part of their claim to fame, and of course the MDF, which of course you know that if you buy that and you put it together, it's very confusing, but when you get it together, you are not taking it apart without damaging it. So you sort of need to just leave it where it is. Trust me, I've built things, and the minute I try moving it, the MDF board just breaks into a million pieces. So, one thing I don't like, but certainly Swedish meatballs is something that we will. So Swedish meatball, the tradition they believe actually came from Turkey. And the Swedish King Charles the 12th, actually fell in love with the meatballs and apparently brought them back to Scandinavia, to Sweden, and fell in love with it. And it actually has become like a national dish because, of course, the meal is easy, it's comforting, and of course that creamy gravy, how could you go wrong? So anyway, I had mentioned that because IKEA had started up in the 50s, IKEA didn't have Swedish meatballs in the beginning. They just had coffee. But when they were really trying to revamp the menu back in 1986, I think it is, 1985 actually, 1985, someone came in and looked at the menu and said, you know what, we need to put some meatballs on this so that people will actually eat a meal after they've been spending hours shopping in the different little areas of IKEA. Looks a little steamy. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so these are cooking up really nice. So let's just move these around. Make sure that we get them browned on all sides. Our meatballs are cooking up, and we need to get our sauce going. So this is our smaller nesting bowl, and what I've got currently right now is just some water, the seasoning pack, as you can see. We're going to want to have that creaminess, so we're going to add some milk, and then we're going to add a couple teaspoons of our gluten-free soy sauce. So let's add that. Now the flavor of this, just to give you an idea, it does have some allspice in this. Ooh, talking about right down to the wire. Perfect, 2 teaspoons. The seasoning pack mix actually says it's got some cornstarch, which is our thickener, inactive nutritional yeast, organic palm sugar, sea salt, onion, parsley, allspice, black pepper, smoked paprika, and nutmeg. And you can smell the flavor. Love, love, love it. Okay, so there is our sauce that we're going to put in once our meatballs are done. So let's take a look at how we're doing here. Okay, you can see they're browning. Just a little shake. Oh yeah, looking good. So there's our browning meatballs. So we'll just finish these off. I want to make sure that they're brown but not over dried out because there's not a lot of moisture in here. Remember, this is extra lean ground meat. Now, do not scrape out the pan or remove your meatballs. Once they are cooked, and they are now, all we're going to do is pour our gravy mix into here, into the saute pan, and we're going to thicken it up a bit. So I want to make sure that I have a nice runny gravy, but of course has consistency of a gravy. So using your saute spoon, just make sure you're scraping off the bottom. This will thicken up, in my opinion, quite quick. So it will not take long. I would not be running away from your kitchen. And in a matter of minutes, we're going to be plating this delicious Swedish meatball recipe, compliments of Epicare. Just make sure as we're stirring this, can you see how the meatballs are getting nicely coated with that gravy? This is the consistency that I love for the meatballs. As I mentioned, I want to make sure that I have that nice saucy flavor. You can see how creamy this is. Let's get that a little bit closer for you. Can you see? Fabulous. And remember, we made 18 of these, so all you need to do, this is a portion for 4, so there is 4 each. And we're going to grab some sauce, drizzle that over top. And now, to make sure that it looks really nice, what you can do, just pull that off for a minute, is if you have any chives or onions, even parsley would work, just maybe use your knife or our shears and add some green onion for coloring. And there you have it, your meatballs. So I hope you enjoyed today's cooking class. Epicare makes life so easy for those of you who were maybe thinking you needed to make Swedish meatballs from scratch. Wasn't that easy? Because the thinking, the work, the effort has all gone into the package for you, so you don't have to do it by yourself. So thanks everyone for watching today's cooking class. There is our Swedish meatballs on top of our creamy polenta. I'm sure you're gonna love it. It's gonna be a family comfort meal for sure. Thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye for now.